welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. This is the weeks that were, and there you have my subtle admission that I'm never going to be able to film an episode of the week that was every single week, and so now we are rechristening this the weeks that were. And I am very pleased to announce that we are all set for the June 21 release of The Prophet of Edan, Book 2 of the Edan Trilogy. I am so thrilled to be able to hold a copy of it in my hands. The arcs have gone out to various reviewers. Very excited to hear their thoughts. Hopefully we'll be creating some buzz about this book before its release. And yeah, I'm very delighted. I'm very happy with how it's come out. I can't wait for you guys to read this story. And I also want to thank the people who have bought and read and reviewed The Way of Edan, Book 1 of the Edan Trilogy. Thank you so much. The reviews are so helpful. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that we are going to continue to deliver a great story, a story that will resonate with you guys in The Prophet of Edan. And by the way, I'm really happy with these, how the covers go together. And here you have the sides, you have the Roman numeral 1 and 2, and you have the nice little raven. That's a nice nod down there that my cover designer put on there. Jack, great job with that. But I love how the stained glass windows go together and, of course, more than hint at the importance of religion in this trilogy, which is, of course, centered on a holy war. So I'm very happy with how these covers have emerged, and there's something about stained glass windows too. It's a little bit different. It's all about the color, isn't it, with stained glass windows? The vividness of the color, which really draws attention to the covers. I'm very happy. I feel like these are covers that at least stand out in some way because of their colors. And also, I love that the idea of a stained glass window being like a frozen moment in time. There's a kind of rigidity to a stained glass window that you wouldn't necessarily have in most, let's say, paintings that end up as covers of books. I think with the painting or with a typical cover image that's aiming more at realism, you're going to have, I think, a sense of movement about that image. The sword sweeping or the horse galloping or that sort of thing. But with a stylized stained glass window cover, which is not about a realistic portrayal of the human figure. It's a stylized portrayal. It's more about that moment, arrested in time. It has a symbolic resonance, hopefully. So that's at least what we're going for there. I hope you guys enjoy those covers. And I'm also, because of this release, going to be making a very special announcement. Yes, look for this announcement at the end of this week or beginning of next week. I haven't decided quite when to make the announcement yet, but it is going to be big. It is really me just celebrating the release of The Prophet of Edan. So be on the lookout for that. Now, I have been doing other stuff on the channel. We had a little contest. I want to tell you guys about the results. The contest was about my thumbnails. So I made a video about my thumbnails and presented 30 of them and asked you folks to vote, and some of you did that. So we actually had about 50 actual votes, I think, and 20 of the 30 thumbnails got votes. But here we had a very close race. In fact, we have a tie. A tie for first place. The Dear Dr. Fantasy episode with Alan. Alan Strikes Back. Yes, where Alan is wearing the accoutrement of a dark helmet. And then we also had in first place the Dust of Dreams thumbnail with the Nemesis on it with our cosplay pony ride. And yes, so both of those got 7 votes, tied in first place. For third place, we had the Dear Dr. Fantasy episode with Jimmy. Yes, indeed. This is the episode where I showed Jimmy who the real Chad of BookTube is. So hopefully he doesn't mind too much. And yeah, this one gave me a lot of laughs, and apparently some other people too, because it did get 5 votes. And then we had another tie. For fourth place, we had the Wizarding Glass thumbnail, where I am looking appropriately bamboozled Inside the Glass. And also in fourth place with the same number of votes, which is 4 votes, we have the Dear Dr. Fantasy episode with AP, where AP is channeling Druss from David Gemmel's legend. Watch out for that axe. And then we had in 6th place the Dear Dr. Fantasy episode with Josh, where he is the perfect embodiment of Fitz from the Realm of the Elderlings, with the nice nod to Dr. Fantasy with the glasses on Night Eyes. And that one got 3 votes. And there were a bunch that got 2 and 1 vote, so I'm not going to be able to really tally top 10 for you. Sorry about that. We didn't get enough votes for that. But it was a lot of fun. I had fun with that. Also on the channel, since the last episode of the weeks that were, or actually it was the week that was back then, but now it's the weeks that were, we had the discussion with Murphy on Vagabond, volumes 34 through 36. That would be the 12th bind-up in Vagabond. And then we also finished the Vagabond discussions on Murphy's channel. So that would be the 37th volume of Vagabond. And so that was a lot of fun. I had a tremendous time with that series. I have so much respect for what an artist can achieve in the medium of manga, and I'm just deeply impressed with the 2 manga series that I've read so far, Vinland Saga and Vagabond. So really great time with that. I'm so glad I did that. And I'm looking forward to our upcoming discussions of Monster. That's the next manga I'll be tackling with Murphy. And I also had on the channel a review of The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. It's the first book in the Library Trilogy. This, folks, is a contender for my favorite read of the year. I am positive that will be among my very favorite reads of the year at the end of it. It was just a tremendous read. I love the incorporation of themes, and I love the characters. The setting is out of this world, out of these worlds, I should say. Just really great stuff. Mark Lawrence at his very best. And we also had on the channel a Dear Dr. Fantasy episode with Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative. That was a ton of fun. I have enjoyed every interaction I've ever had with Leslie. She is one of the sweetest persons you will meet on BookTube. And I had a great time, as I expected, in that episode, chatting with her about her book journey, her bookish journey. And there was the cover reveal for The Prophet of Edan. I already alluded to that. And there was a chat with Shauna Lawless, the author of The Children of God and Fighting Men. I read her book, and I discussed it with her, and she discussed The Way of Edan with me. It was a kind of a mutual, we read each other's books and decided to sit down and chat about them. It was a lot of fun. Had a great time chatting with her, and also loved the book, by the way, Children of God and Fighting Men. I highly recommend you check it out, especially if you're into Celtic mythology. And I had a video about what I am doing with SFBBO, because I am a judge for SFBBO 9. That is the contest that is celebrating self-published fantasy and brings the people of the self-publishing fantasy community together in such a wonderful way. I am so proud to be a judge, so honored to be a judge this year for this contest, and I am so excited to be reading what I expect to find some really wonderful gems in the 30 books that have been assigned to me as a judge. So I'm looking forward to that very much. And I also had a video on Tejanu. This was a discussion with Glenn and Bill, whose collaborative channel is called Non-Terrestrial Half-Life. And Anita joined us for that as well. And we had a great time discussing this 4th book of the Earthsea series. Glenn and Bill and I had discussed the previous 3 books on their channel, once again, Non-Terrestrial Half-Life, and I have included those in my Le Guin playlist, along with the discussion of Tejanu. So that's what I've been up to on my channel. Elsewhere, on YouTube, I did appear on the channel Dylan Johns. Dylan is a wonderful booktuber, a great fellow, relatively newish, but has grown very rapidly. Or at least newish to me, but a fantastic fellow. And he read The Way of Edan and was kind enough to invite me onto his channel to chat about it. And I had a great time chatting with Dylan, who asked some wonderful questions. And also I was in a discussion on fantasy and violence, on Do Unicorns Read? So Angela hosted that discussion, and I was a participant along with Varsha from Reading by the Rainy Mountain. That was a really fantastic discussion, I felt, and just really scratching the surface of what is a pretty big topic, and a topic that probably should be talked about a fair amount. And I think we should reflect on the violence that is a big part of the fantasy genre, and often I feel it's an important part of the fantasy genre. Also, I had the wonderful privilege of being in an episode of Page Chewing, and this was really cool because it was the very first episode of Page Chewing. That was the very first video, actually, on P.L. Stewart's channel. And what a great time I had talking with PL, and Steve was there as well from Steve Talks Books. These two are the mainstays of Page Chewing, which is a wonderful series, along with Taylor from Made Between the Pages. Now, Taylor couldn't be there. She had a very good reason. She recently gave birth. And so, yes, we totally understood why she had other priorities, but we did, of course, miss her. But those three together are the Page Chewing team, and they have a lot of wonderful guests and some great insights, fantastic discussions on books and writing, and I highly recommend you check out those three. And let's see, that's about it for stuff I've been doing on YouTube. So what am I reading? I have actually finished reading The Sword of the Lictor, which is the third book in the Book of the New Sun. I am finished with that, and I'm going to be talking with Matt and with Paul about that very soon, and I'm looking forward to that discussion. And so you'll hear my thoughts during that discussion, but it continues to be a series that in many ways baffles me, in a good way mostly, but there are certain aspects of Gene Wolfe's storytelling in Book of the New Sun that are quite different from the norm. And it can be very confusing. It can be, and deliberately so. I think Gene Wolfe did some things in there where he's trying to kick you out of your comfort zone a little bit, and he has been successful in my case. And I'm also currently reading and really enjoying The Hod King by Josiah Bancroft. This is the third book in the Books of Babel. I have loved the first two books tremendously, and I just find that Bancroft's writing draws me right in. These are pages that really go by very fast, and I am looking forward to the discussion we're going to be having. Not scheduled yet, but I hope it will take place this month. And I believe that Grace is going to be the one hosting the Hod King discussion, but that will include Ben as well, and Alan, of course, and Johan from Library of a Viking. After that, I intend to read Forge of the High Mage by Ian Esselmont. I am returning to the Malazan world with much anticipation and excitement. I have loved Esselmont's previous installments in the Paths to Ascendancy, and I expect to do the same for Forge of the High Mage. Very excited to delve into this, and I will be in a discussion with A.P. Canavan and with Alex from Books with Banks, so I'm really excited about that. I'll probably do a dedicated review, since it's a fairly new release, I'll probably do a dedicated review of it as well. After that, I will be reading Robin Hobb's Dragon Keeper. This is book 1 in the Rain Wilds Chronicles, and I'm very much looking forward to continuing in the realm of the Elderlings. This is part of a read-along I'm doing with Mike over at Mike's Book Reviews. The two of us are going to be finishing the realm of the Elderlings this year, and I was initially a little bit scared of a letdown with the Rain Wilds Chronicles, because you hear people saying it's their least favorite. Even dedicated Hobb fans often say, yeah, it's not the best of the realm of the Elderlings. So I'm going into it with slightly lowered expectations, which could be a good thing. And I have heard some people say, actually, they love Rain Wilds Chronicles. And honestly, from my perspective so far, even a not as good Hobb book is going to be a fantastic book by any other standard. So I'm looking forward to it, actually. And Jade War. I am actually more than halfway through reading this. I'm putting it toward the bottom of the pile because we're going to be discussing it later in June. I mentioned that Taylor from Made Between the Pages recently had a baby, and so we are going to be having the discussion on Jade War a little bit later. So I actually put off finishing this, but I am about 2/3 of the way through Jade War, which is book 2 in the Greenbone saga. And initially, I kind of didn't enjoy the beginning third or so. I just felt like it was too dispersed. But as I kept reading, I got more and more into it, and I remembered why I enjoyed Jade City so much. And yeah, I mean, Fondley is a very talented writer, and I'm definitely looking forward to finishing Jade War. And finally, after that, and this probably will go into July, this almost certainly will go well into July, it's going to be Ships of Merrier, which is book 2 in the Wars of Light and Shadow by Jenny Wirtz. And we, I think, have a discussion scheduled. We being Joanna, who's going to be hosting it, and Jimmy from the Fantasy Network, and AP Canavan from A Critical Dragon. We're going to be discussing book 2 of the Wars of Light and Shadow, Ships of Merrier, in July. So yes, I'm very much looking forward to that chat. So that's what I'm doing. In addition to all that, I am reading for SFBBO. And as I said in the video about SFBBO, I intend to release at least one review a month. And I have gotten started with my reading for SFBBO number 9. And I think I might know which book. I'm going to keep it a surprise for now, but I think I know which book I probably will be reviewing for June. And I'm very excited to tell people about it. So yeah, that's all my reading. And lots of stuff coming up. Lots of stuff. You expect to hear from me about SFBBO. I'm going to be in some more Dear Dr. Fantasy episodes that I am very excited to be doing. And lots of fun stuff. So thank you so much, guys, for being with me for all of these journeys, for your support. It means the world to me. And I look forward to hearing from you in some of these videos. All right, that's it for me from now. Until next time.